The eyes of the galaxy turned toward Astra Prime, a shining world known for peace meetings and diplomatic events. Its sky was a soft silver color, and the massive city of Orion Hall stood like a metal mountain. People from more than 50 alien species filled the wide platforms and glowing bridges. Every balcony, every walkway, every sky window was crowded. Today was not just another meeting. Today was supposed to be the first day of true galactic unity. For the first time, humanity would officially sign the document that allowed Earth to join the Galactic Alliance, a powerful union of civilizations spread across the stars. The event was being broadcast to billions across hundreds of systems. Everyone expected a day of celebration. But even before the ceremony began, there was a tension in the air that people couldn't explain. The main hall was a giant sphere made of crystal-like glass. Floating lights moved in slow circles, and soft music hummed through the air. Humans stood on the left side, aliens on the right, while news drones drifted above, recording everything. Commander Elena Ward, one of Earth's most respected diplomats, entered through the central gate. She moved calmly, her uniform shining under the soft blue lights. She had a strong presence, focused, steady, and thoughtful. Many aliens respected humans because of people like her. As she walked toward the stage, everyone cheered, but she noticed something strange. Some alien guards were whispering urgently. A few security drones flickered, as if they were experiencing interference. And somewhere above, a faint mechanical hum pulsed in short bursts. Nothing looked dangerous, but something felt wrong. Across the hall, the Alliance High Council stood ready for the signing ceremony. They wore tall robes covered in golden symbols. Their leader, Chancellor Rhynor, gave a polite smile that somehow felt too controlled, too forced. Elena's team of human officers scanned the area. Their devices picked up odd energy spikes. They could not pinpoint the source, but the readings kept growing stronger. "Is that normal?" one officer whispered. "No," another replied. "But the Alliance insists everything is secure." Elena knew this event had enemies. Not everyone wanted humans to join so quickly. Some species feared Earth's fast rise in technology. Some feared humanity's unpredictable nature. Some simply hated change. Still, she stepped onto the wide circular stage. This was her mission, to bring unity, no matter the danger. The crowd quieted. The hall lights dimmed slightly. A spotlight formed around Elena and the council. Her voice echoed through the chamber. Today is not about one world or one people. Today is about... She stopped. A flicker of movement caught her eye, far in the upper balcony. Something shifted in the shadows. A figure, slim, quick, moved behind one of the large support beams. Elena tried to stay calm, but her instincts sharpened. She had served in dangerous missions before. She knew what suspicious movement looked like. At the same moment, one of the human security officers whispered sharply into an earpiece, "Commander, I'm detecting an energy surge behind you. It's static." The communication cut out. Elena's heart tightened, but she forced herself to continue speaking, keeping her calm expression, about working together for a safer future. News drones hovered lower, focusing on her face. Millions watching across the galaxy couldn't see her fear. They saw only a confident leader delivering a hopeful message. Behind Elena, the shadows moved again. This time, faster. A tall alien guard turned as if he sensed something too. His eyes widened, but before he could speak, someone beside him grabbed his arm and whispered, "Don't react." Something was definitely wrong. Someone was trying to keep him quiet. Elena continued speaking slowly, trying to buy time while her team worked. She saw her officers moving subtly around the hall, checking devices, exchanging silent signals. But the energy spike was growing. It felt like a storm building behind her back. Then, one of the floating camera drones suddenly glitched. Its screen flashed white for a moment before returning to normal. The audience didn't think much of it, but Elena noticed the direction of the flash. It came from her blind spot. She took one half step forward. It saved her life, but not enough. A single sharp, cracking sound echoed through the hall. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was almost too fast to process. But everyone saw the blue energy bolt streak across the stage. It hit Elena from behind, sending her forward. She stumbled, catching herself on one knee as sparks scattered from her uniform. A gasp spread to the hall like a shockwave. Humans shouted. Aliens shouted. Security bots activated in panic. For half a second, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Then everything exploded into chaos. Alliance guards rushed toward the stage. Human officers pushed through the crowd, shouting orders. Cameras spun wildly as news drones tried to steady themselves. And the shadowy figure who fired the shot, it was gone, vanished into the maze of balconies above. Chancellor Rhinor raised his hand, shouting, "This was a malfunction, a weapon failure. Please remain calm." But the humans stared at him with disbelief. A malfunction? From a restricted Alliance weapon? In the exact moment humanity was joining? No one trusted that answer. Not any longer. Med drones rushed to Elena, lifting her gently as alarms roared through the chamber. Humans formed a protective wall around her as she was carried away. In those chaotic moments, one truth became clear to everyone watching across the galaxy. This was not an accident. This was betrayal. And someone inside the Alliance wanted humanity to fall. The promise of unity had shattered in a single shot. The moment Commander Elena Ward fell, the Hall of Orion Prime changed from a place of peace to a place of fear. The smooth, glowing floor, the floating lights, the curious alien visitors. Everything turned chaotic in seconds. No one understood what had happened, but everyone felt the shock deep inside. Human officers rushed forward first. Their faces were tight with fear, but controlled with discipline. The med drones moved around them, scanning Elena and lifting her carefully. She was still breathing, but weak. Her uniform was burned in the back where the shot had struck, and tiny sparks still flickered from the impact. The crowd backed away as the human team shouted for space. Move. Make room. Clear the path. Some aliens stepped aside nervously, unsure whether to help or stay away. Others whispered in fear. Some even recorded the chaos with their hollow devices, sending live streams to their home planets. Across the hall, the Alliance High Council tried to calm everyone. Chancellor Rhinor waved his arms dramatically, shouting for order, but his voice was drowned by the rising noise of panic. One tall reptilian alien shouted, "Who fired a shot? What happened?" Another yelled, "Was it a human weapon?" A third shook its head and muttered, "No, that sound, that was Alliance tech." Rumors spread like fire. Meanwhile, the humans were focused only on one thing, saving Elena. As they rushed her toward the medical chamber, Captain Reed, the leader of a human security team, kept scanning the area. His scanner beeped rapidly, showing trails of energy across the upper balconies. Someone up there fired it. Reed said quietly to his officers, and they had clearance to access high-level weapons. His words were calm, but his heart was burning. Behind him, a group of Alliance guards ran to the same area, but they moved too slowly. They looked confused, unsure where to begin searching. Every few meters, they stopped to argue among themselves. Some even pointed at humans, blaming them, while others denied it. Humans ignored them. They had no interest in arguing. They needed facts. As Elena disappeared behind the doors of the medical wing, Reed turned back toward the hall. His eyes narrowed as he watched the council members whispering behind their podium. Their faces were pale, their movements tense. Then, Chancellor Rhinor spoke loudly, activating the hall's speaker system. "Everyone, please listen. We believe the shot was caused by a technical malfunction within our defense grid. No species is to blame. Please remain calm." Humans stared at him, silent. A malfunction? During a peace signing? With a weapon used only by high-ranking officials? Nobody believed it. The hall was now half empty as security teams escorted civilians out, but the air still buzzed with fear. Strange echoes bounced off the crystal walls as emergency lights flashed faintly. Up in the viewing balconies, a group of humans gathered around a console. They had managed to pull data from one of the floating drones before it was shut down. The footage was shaky but still showed something important. A blurred figure standing directly behind Elena, moments before the shot. The figure wore an Alliance uniform. Captain Reed watched the footage twice, then 3 times. "That's not a malfunction," he said quietly. "That's an assassin." But the figure's face was hidden. No features could be recognized. Still, the uniform alone was enough to raise suspicion. Down in the main hall, Alliance representatives were arguing among themselves. Some demanded a full investigation. Others insisted it was just an accident. And a few were clearly trying to end the event as quickly as possible. One council member whispered to Rhinoral, "We need to lock down the footage before humans get it." Rhinoral nodded slightly, but he was too late. The humans already had it. A sudden transmission beeped in Reed's earpiece. A voice from Earth's orbiting ship, the Horizon Marshal, spoke urgently. "Captain, we're picking up multiple encrypted messages leaving Astra Prime. Someone is trying to scrub all camera data." Reed frowned. "Then someone is hiding something." He looked around the hall again. The tall crystal walls, the floating lights, the sweeping balconies. So beautiful a moment ago, now felt like the walls a trap. Something deep and dark was hidden inside this place. And humans had walked right into it. Reed turned toward the hall's exit, where more human officers were gathering. Their faces were tense, their arms crossed, their eyes sharp. "Listen," Reed said, loud enough for his team, but quiet enough that others wouldn't hear. "Elena was attacked by someone with access to Alliance weapons. Someone inside this building planned it, and they want us to believe it was an accident." Everyone nodded. "But we're not starting a war," Reed continued. "Not yet. We're starting an investigation." A murmur of agreement moved through the group. "We're going to find out who fired that shot," Reed said, "and why." As he spoke, an alarm echoed through the hall. A robotic voice announced, "Emergency lockdown. All diplomatic personnel must remain inside the designated zones." But humans did not freeze. They began to plan. Back in the medical wing, Elena lay in a healing pod. The pod glowed soft white, repairing the damage slowly. She was unconscious, but her heartbeat was steady. Her officer stood outside, guarding her door silently. Beyond the walls, Astra Prime was already exploding with news. Every screen, every channel, every public feed flashed headlines. "Human diplomat shot during peace ceremony." "Alliance claims malfunction." "Chaos on Astra Prime." Across Earth's colonies, angry voices rose. On alien worlds, worried citizens demanded answers. In the Alliance headquarters, secret meetings were already taking place behind closed doors. Humanity had come to sign peace. Now they sensed betrayal. Captain Reed looked at Elena through the glass wall of the pod. "We will find the truth," he whispered. "And whoever planned this will face justice." He turned away and walked toward the security wing, where the investigation would begin. Unknown to him, in a dark corner of the hall, a hidden communicator shimmered softly. A cloaked figure whispered into it. "They suspect nothing. Phase 2 will begin soon." The investigation started the moment Captain Reed stepped into the security operations wing of Orion Hall. The room was large, filled with hollow screens, data tables, and floating projection cubes. Normally, it was a quiet place where officers monitored activity across the hall. But now it felt like the heart of the storm. Human officers gathered around Reed as he approached the central console. Their expressions were tense, their eyes sharp. They knew that what happened today was not an accident, and not a small mistake. This was something far bigger. "Bring up all video feeds from the moment of the attack," Reed ordered. Lieutenant Mara activated the main holoscreen. Dozens of video angles appeared at once, some showing crowd, others showing the stage, and a few showing the upper balconies. But something was wrong. Half the screens were dark. Some displayed only static. Others showed file corrupted. Reed clenched his jaw. "They're deleting evidence." Mara nodded. "Someone inside the Alliance system is wiping the feeds in real time." Another officer turned from a side console. "Sir, they're blocking our access to the main server. We have only 30% of the footage left." "30% is enough," Reed said. "We'll work with what we have." He studied the remaining screens, focusing on the blurry figure hiding behind the support beam. The figure's movements were calculated, calm, and professional. They waited for the exact moment when Elena was facing forward, her back fully exposed. This was no random attacker. This was a trained operative. Reed zoomed in. No face, no species markers, no clear armor type. But the outline of the uniform, that was unmistakable. Alliance officer, Reed said quietly. The room fell silent. Humans had feared it. Now they had proof. Mara took a shaky breath. Sir, if we announce this, the Alliance will deny it. They'll say the footage is fake. They can deny anything, Reed said, but we will find something they can't deny. He turned to Sergeant Liu. Check for energy signatures around the firing location. The weapon left a trace. Liu was already scanning. Got it. The energy matches a Type 7 ionic disruptor. Reed's eyes went cold. Only high-ranking Alliance officers had access to that weapon, and only in critical missions, not a ceremonial event. Who authorized that weapon in the hall? Reed asked. No one. Liu replied. Not a single report mentions it. Reed folded his arms. Then someone smuggled restricted tech into the peace ceremony. The room grew colder. Meanwhile, outside the hall, Alliance guards formed a shaky perimeter, tried to look in control, but fear was spreading through them too. They whispered among themselves, confused and nervous. Some believed humans had done it. Some believed their own leaders were hiding something. Some didn't know who to trust anymore. A short alien officer named Vexel approached the human team carefully. His hands were raised in peace. I want to help, he said quietly. Reed turned. Why? Vexel swallowed hard. Because what happened today, it was wrong. And I heard rumors. He looked around nervously before continuing. Some council members were meeting secretly before the ceremony. They were arguing. I heard them say humanity must not rise too fast. Reed's expression darkened. Names! Vexel shook his head. I wasn't close enough, but they seemed very afraid. Reed nodded. Thank you. Stay safe. Vexel quickly disappeared into the crowd. Humans were not alone in wanting the truth. Some aliens were on their side, but fear kept them quiet. Back inside the security wing, the hollow screen suddenly flickered. A new symbol appeared. A sun-like circle with sharp rays. Mara's eyes widened. Sir, this is the symbol of the Dawn Circle. Reed turned sharply. Are you sure? Yes, she said. They're an extremist faction. They've always opposed humanity joining the Alliance. Reed had heard of them. Whispers and intelligence reports. Rumors passed between diplomats. Nothing confirmed. The Dawn Circle believed the Alliance should be controlled by ancient species only, and humanity was too young, too dangerous, too fast-growing. If they were involved, this was no small plot. Reed stepped closer. Traced the file. Where did this symbol come from? Mara typed rapidly. The screen zoomed in. A single hidden message was found inside the corrupted video files. Phase 1 complete. Reed stared at it. His pulse slowed. His expression hardened. This wasn't an accident, he said. It wasn't even a single attack. He looked at his officers. This is the beginning of a larger plan. At that moment, a sudden alarm rang through the hall. A robotic voice echoed. Unauthorized access detected in the lower server room. Reed didn't wait. Team, move. Humans sprinted through the hallways, passing guards, medbots, and diplomats. They reached the lower level, the place where the hall's entire security system was controlled. The door was open. Inside, sparks rained from a console. A body lay on the floor, an Alliance Tech officer, stunned but alive. And in the corner, a cloaked figure was working on the main system. Reed shouted, "Stop!" The figure turned. Their cloaks shimmered in the light, revealing a metallic mask with the same sun-like symbol on the forehead, the Dawn Circle. The figure tapped a device on their wrist. A blinding flash filled the room. When Reed opened his eyes again, the figure was gone. But the console screen displayed one final message. Phase 2 begins now. Reed stood still, breathing hard. The message glowed in cold blue text. Someone had fired the first shot. Someone inside the Alliance was hiding the truth. And now, something even worse was coming. Humanity had come for peace. But an unseen enemy wanted war. Reed whispered, "We will stop you, no matter the cost." An investigation moved into its darkest stage yet. Captain Reed stood in the server room long after the cloaked figure vanished. The strange symbol on the screen, the sharp sun of the dawn circle, kept glowing like a warning. His officers waited quietly, watching him, waiting for orders. The attack on Elena was terrible, but this meant something much bigger was happening behind the scenes. Reed took a slow breath. We're no longer dealing with a single shooter. We're dealing with a full organization. They planned this. Lieutenant Mara stepped forward. "Sir, what do we do next?" Reed's eyes hardened. "We find everything the Alliance never told us." He led the team out of the server room and into the dim hallway. Emergency lights blinked every few seconds, painting the walls in red flashes. The hall felt empty, like the entire place was holding its breath. They headed to the Alliance archives, a heavily restricted area where only top officials were allowed. Most species use that place to hide secrets, erase mistakes, and store things too dangerous to reveal to the public. But today, humans were going inside, whether the Alliance liked it or not. 2 guards stood at the entrance, blocking the door. "This area is restricted," one said flatly. Reed showed his badge. "A human diplomat was attacked. We're authorized to investigate. No human has clearance." Reed stared at him. "Then call someone who does." The guards exchanged a nervous look. They were unsure, scared, even. A few seconds later, Chancellor Reinor himself appeared. He looked flustered, tired, and annoyed. "What do you think you're doing?" he asked. "Your systems were hacked," Reed said calmly. "Evidence was destroyed. An extremist group may be inside your ranks. We need full access." Reinor hesitated. His eyes flicked toward the archive door. That hesitation told Reed everything. "You're hiding something," Reed said quietly. Reinor shook his head. "No, but there are sensitive records inside. Some information could create panic. More panic than a diplomat being shot in front of the galaxy?" Reed asked. Reinor didn't answer. Reed stepped forward. "Let us inside. If you refuse, it will look like you're protecting the attackers." Reinor's hands trembled slightly. Then, with a defeated sigh, he opened the door. "Very well," he said, "but what you find may change everything." Inside the archives, the room was massive, cold, and silent. Rows of glowing data tablets floated in the air like blue lanterns. Hollow lockers lined the walls, each containing encrypted evidence, secret reports, and classified records. Mara whispered, "Sir, this place holds decades of secrets." Reed nodded. "Search everything related to humans, the peace ceremony and the dawn circle." The team split up, scanning through files and opening encrypted logs. For a long time, the only sounds were soft beeps and the faint hum of the archive's energy core. Then Sergeant Lou called out, "I found something." Reed rushed over. A glowing file hovered in front of Lou. Its title read, "Project Silent Star, Level Omega Restricted." Mara frowned. "What is this?" Reed opened it. Inside the file were reports, messages, and meeting logs, some written by high-ranking Alliance officials. The deeper they read, the colder the room felt. Project Silent Star was a secret plan created years ago. It described how the Alliance should manage humanity's rise in power. The older species fear humans would grow too fast and upset the balance of the galaxy. Their solution was simple: slow humanity down, control their influence, limit their alliances, and if needed, remove their leaders. Reed felt anger rising inside him, but he kept his voice steady. "They were planning to restrict us from the start." Mara whispered, "Elena's attack, is it connected?" Reed opened another message. It was a private letter from an Alliance council member addressed to someone with the Dawn Circle symbol. The message read, "If the humans gain leadership, our position will collapse. Use the ceremony to make them look unstable. Phase 1 must succeed." Reed closed his eyes for a moment. This was proof, not only of betrayal, but of collaboration between the Alliance leadership and the extremist group. He whispered. They knew they were working with them. A dangerous discovery. Before they could open more files, an alert flashed red across the room. Unauthorized access detected. The archive doors locked themselves with a heavy click. The lights dimmed to emergency mode. Reed looked around sharply. We're not alone. Footsteps echoed from the shadows. A tall alien figure stepped forward, wearing dark robes and a metal mask, the Dawn Circle mask. The figure spoke calmly. You were not meant to find this. Reed stood firm. Why attack humanity? Why betray the Alliance? The masked figure tilted their head. The galaxy must be led by order, not chaos. Humans rise too quickly. You question too much. You break the old systems. And some of us cannot allow that. Mara glared. So you shot a diplomat? The figure shrugged. A small action to prevent a larger collapse. Reed stepped closer. You're afraid of us. The figure didn't deny it. They simply said, Phase 2 begins soon. Your investigation ends here. Before Reed could react, the figure pressed a device. The floor shook, the lights flashed, and the masked figure escaped through a hidden exit. The door unlocked again, almost as if the figure wanted humans to leave, but not with all the information. Reed looked at his team. They're preparing something bigger, he said. The attack on Elena was just the first move. Mara pointed to the screen, where a final line of encrypted text was slowly appearing. Phase 2. Initiate civilian unrest. Reed's eyes widened. They're going to turn the galaxy against humans. He turned to his team. We expose the truth, every detail. We stop Phase 2, and we show the galaxy what really happened. The real fight was only beginning. Captain Rhea Morgan stood at the center of the human command deck, surrounded by quiet alarms and soft flickering lights. The room felt colder than it had ever been, even though nothing had changed physically. The cold came from something else, a slow, growing fear shared by every human on the ship. Because now, the evidence was out. The hollow screen in front of Rhea showed the message that Elian, the young alien officer, had risked everything to deliver. The message exposed every secret the Alliance had hidden. It revealed how the Council planned the attack, how they had allowed humans to join only to weaken them from inside, and how they sent orders to frame humanity as the aggressor. It was proof, it was truth, and it was a reason for war. Rhea stared at the glowing words, feeling their weight on her shoulders like a mountain. Around her, crew members whispered quietly, some in disbelief, others in anger. Lieutenant Oren finally spoke. Captain, once we send this to Earth, everything will change. We can't turn back. Rhea's reply was calm, almost too calm for the situation. We crossed that point the day they shot Marcus from behind. Silence settled again. No one argued. No one doubted. They all knew. But knowing the truth did not bring safety. If anything, it made danger closer, sharper, more certain. Because the Alliance would not stay quiet. And Rhea already felt the countdown ticking in her chest. Suddenly, a soft chiming sound came from the comm panel. It wasn't the normal alert tone. It was something else. Something coded. Something secret. The crew looked at one another. Rhea stepped forward. Put it through. A small hologram flickered to life. It was cracked with interference, colors shifting and lines bending as if the signal was under attack. But the face behind the distortion was clear enough. It was Elian. He looked exhausted. The glowing stripes on his face were dim, like fading embers. His eyes moved fast, checking something behind him. Captain Morgan, listen carefully, he said, voice tense but steady. The Alliance knows someone leaked their message. They don't know it was me yet, but they will soon. He sucked in a breath. And they think you have the evidence. The room went still. Rhea leaned forward. How much time do we have? Minutes. A battleship is already moving toward your sector. They have orders to seize your ship and everyone on board. Lieutenant Oren cursed under his breath. The navigator whispered, They want to erase us. Elian continued quickly. They plan to destroy the transmission logs, destroy your ship, and call it a malfunction. They want the galaxy to believe that your vessel simply vanished. His voice cracked slightly, not with fear, but with frustration. There were many in the Alliance who wanted to trust humanity, but the Council overruled them. They believe fear will force obedience. Rhea's voice stayed steady. Elian, what about you? If they track the leak, they will, Elian answered. But that doesn't matter anymore. He looked down, gathering strength, and then lifted his head with a new calm. I made my choice when Marcus fell. The human crew exchanged quiet glances. Even now, the memory hurt, but Elian's courage made it hurt differently. Less like grief, more like fire. Rhea spoke again. Elian, can you escape? He gave a small, weak smile. I don't know, but I can give you time. Time. Sometimes that meant everything. Sometimes it was the only thing that mattered. Rhea tightened her jaw. She had always been a type who thought quickly, who acted before fear could take hold. This moment demanded that skill more than any battle she had fought. Orin, she said sharply, prepare for evasive maneuvers. Don't wait for the battleship to get close. Yes, Captain. Navigation, Rhea continued. Calculate a jump path to the nearest human outpost, but fragment the route. 3 micro-jumps, all chained. They won't be able to predict it. On it, the navigator replied, fingers flying over controls. Rhea turned back to Elian's flickering hologram. We'll send the proof to Earth within the minute. You've done enough, Elian. You don't have to. Yes, I do, he said before she could finish. Because if the Alliance succeeds today, the truth disappears forever. His voice softened. And if they succeed, humans will never be safe again. The crew felt the weight of those words. None of them needed convincing. Elian kept speaking, but now his voice shook slightly. There is one more thing. The battleship hunting you. It is commanded by Counselor Varys himself. The name hit the room like a cold wind. Varys, the man who ordered Marcus's death. The man who called humans temporary tools. The man who wanted humans erased from history. Rhea's eyes hardened. Then this ends tonight. She tapped her comm panel. Earth Command will receive everything. Will expose every lie the Alliance ever built. Elian nodded weakly. I knew you would. Before the transmission faded, he added softly, and Rhea, whatever happens, remember this. Not all of us wanted war. Then the hologram dissolved into static. The moment it vanished, the human ship came alive. The bridge filled with movement. Fast footsteps, sharp commands, glowing screens updating every second. The hum of engines deepened as power rerouted for a jump. The lights dimmed as shields strengthened. Lieutenant Orin read out updates. Transmission to Earth is ready. Encryption locked. Send it. Rhea ordered. The message launched into space. A small packet of truth traveling faster than light. One spark. Enough to ignite a galaxy. But before anyone could breathe, sensors lit up with a violent flash. The enemy battleship had arrived. The hull shuddered from the pressure wave of its arrival. The crew steadied themselves. Even without direct fire, the presence of the massive ship filled the air with dread. Lieutenant Orin checked readings with wide eyes. They're charging weapons. They want to disable us in one hit. Rhea narrowed her eyes. They won't get the chance. She stood tall, calm, and fearless, as if she had been preparing for this moment her entire life. Start the jump countdown, she ordered. 3 seconds. Her voice spread across the entire ship, reaching every crew member. Stay sharp. Stay steady. And no matter what happens, humanity does not fall today. The engines roared. The battleship locked weapons. The countdown hit 2. Rhea whispered to herself, almost too quietly for anyone to hear. And Marcus, this is for you. The timer hit 1. And then everything exploded into light. For a moment, the world became nothing but white light. The engines of the human ship howled as the jump sequence started, pulling every particle of the vessel toward escape. The stars outside stretched into long silver lines. The air itself vibrated, but before the jump could complete, a powerful shockwave rippled across the hull. The battleship had fired. The blast didn't hit directly, but it was close enough to shake the entire ship. Panels flickered. Gravity wavered. Sparks danced from the ceiling, like brief stars trying to hold on. Lieutenant Oren clung to the console, shields holding, but we can't take another one. Rhea Morgan didn't blink. She stared at the main screen, where the enormous Alliance battleship glowed with cold lights, its silhouette like a metal predator. "Complete the jump," she said. "We're trying," the navigator replied. The shot disrupted the sequence, recalibrating. Every second felt like a heavy stone dropping faster and faster. Inside the Alliance battleship, Counselor Varys watched with cold satisfaction. His slender fingers tapped the arm of his chair as he studied the human vessel thrashing against the blast. "Disable their engines," he commanded. "We need the ship intact for our explanation." His officers obeyed without question. Varys believed this was justice. Humanity had become unpredictable. He had said it many times. He had shouted it during the council meetings. And now, with the truth leaking, he believed only destruction could save the Alliance's image. He leaned forward. This ends now. Back on the human ship, the bridge lights steadied. The sensors cleared. "Captain," Oren shouted. "Second blast incoming." Rhea raised her hand. "Brace." But before the enemy weapon fired, something unexpected appeared on the sensors. A single ship, small, fast, shot out from behind the battleship and positioned itself directly in the path of the blast. The crew gasped. The navigator whispered, "Is that—" Rhea's heart clenched. "Elian!" The blast fired, and the small ship took the full hit. The explosion wasn't graphic, but it was final. A bright pulse, then silence. The tiny vessel vanished from the screen, like a candle being blown out. No debris, no trace, just gone. The humans stood frozen. Some stared in disbelief. Others covered their mouths. Lieutenant Oren lowered his head, voice quiet and shaking. "He gave us everything." Rhea swallowed hard. Her chest tightened, but she forced herself to breathe evenly. Grief could come later. Survival had to come first. "Elian bought us a cons," she said softly. "We honor him by using every one of them." And with those words, she turned back to controls with eyes that no longer held fear, only fire. The navigator called out, voice clear again. Jump sequence restored. 2 seconds to completion. The Alliance battleship prepared to fire again. "Captain, should we raise full power to shields?" Oren asked. Rhea shook her head. "No. Divert everything to engines. We outrun them, we don't fight them." The crew obeyed. The ship hummed louder. The stars stretched farther. 1 second, the navigator shouted. Outside, the battleship glowed with another bright charge. Rhea gripped the rail, muscles tight, voice steady. "Hold on." The jump activated. Light swallowed the entire ship. And then, they were gone. Silence filled the human ship's bridge as normal space reappeared. The stars looked peaceful, unaware of the storm unfolding across the galaxy. The crew let out a long, collective breath. "Location?" Rhea asked. "Near Outpost Epsilon." The navigator reported. "Humans' territory. Alliance ships won't follow here." Oren slumped into his seat. "We made it." Rhea nodded slowly. "Yes, but this was only the first step." A small icon blinked on the screen. It was a confirmation that Earth Command had received the message. The proof was out. The truth was safe. "Captain," Oren said, "what do we do now?" Rhea looked around at her tired crew, the bruised, determined faces that had chosen courage over fear. She felt a strange calm settle over her. "Now," she said, "we prepare." "Prepare for what?" someone asked quietly. Rhea walked the center of the bridge, standing tall, shoulders squared, voice strong. "For what happens when the galaxy learns the truth? The Alliance will try to spread lies. They will deny everything. They will accuse us of betrayal." She paused. But the truth is stronger than their fear. The crew listened closely. Humans did not want war. Humans did not betray the Alliance. Humans stood by their promises, even when the Alliance did not. She glanced at the small blinking message icon again. Elian believed that. He believed in us more than his own council. His sacrifice will not be forgotten. Not by us. and soon not by the galaxy. A gentle silence filled the room. For a moment, no one moved. Then Lieutenant Oren straightened. "Captain, Earth Command is requesting a full report in your presence." Rhea nodded. "We'll go. But first, send a message to every human outpost." "What message?" Rhea's eyes hardened with resolve. "Tell them humanity stood for peace. And when peace was betrayed, humanity survived." The ship moved toward the distant glow of Outpost Epsilon. Systems hummed quietly. Crew members leaned back in their seats, letting the fear drain from their bodies, replaced by something steadier, something human. Hope, determination, strength, and somewhere, deep in the quiet of space, the spark Elian had lit continued to grow. Because truth, once released, could not be contained. The Alliance had crossed a line. Humanity would not forget. Humanity would not hide. And humanity would not fall. Not now. Not ever.